Lamine Yamal steps into McDonald's, looks left, sees Pulisic, looks right, sees Jimenez. Gives a nod to Ronaldinho in the corner with a FIFA World Cup meal. Ronaldinho sees Son in the booth. Son finds Beckham going for extra Big Mac sauce. He's got Davies at the table just behind him. Davies going for his collectible cup. Oh no! A steal by Henry, who pulls his own collectible cup. Collect one of 9 legendary cups with a FIFA World Cup meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, the top 14 Pro de National, the Champions and Challenge Cups, the French national team, and of course, most importantly of all, brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, fans, especially this week, and everything else that makes French rugby so sublime. Rob, down the line, the Bayern flag is flying. Po make their first ever, well, it was already confirmed, right? But it's doubly confirmed. But otherwise, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm more concerned about you. I want to hear about your weekend and your big news.
Yeah, managed to, after years of wearing down, I have buckled and we're getting a dog. So, we had maybe one too many glasses of wine at Lord's on Friday. And in my slightly hungover state, in a moment of vulnerability, was taken advantage of to finally agree. So, yeah, we're going to rehome a lurcher that was abandoned by a petrol station somewhere on the A24. So, yeah, suddenly I'd gone from just a sort of normal post-sunshine, post-cricket, bit of haziness to on the train to Battersea to go and meet Alfred. So, gonna go and get him later today, which should be fun. He was very lovely. We've been saying it Alfred, for a while. Yeah, so, there's going to be someone tugging at the wires that are currently surrounding me very soon. But looking forward to it.
Christ, given the minor meltdown that we just had, me trying to sort out wires, I don't think this flat would be, well, tiny anyway, but it definitely wouldn't be ready for a dog. Lurchers get like big, right?
Yeah, this one isn't that. It's a lurcher cross something. Yeah, he's a bit of a mutt. So
are they not also absolutely rapid?
They are rapid, but they're rapid in very small. Yeah, very small. So what's the word I'm looking for? Spurts. So my wife's family have had quite a few of them over the years, and they're very, very sweet. They spend basically all of their time asleep, but then go absolutely bonkers when they want to go for it. So I was trying to think of someone like a French rugby player that might be like, but I haven't worked it out yet.
Teddy Thomas.
Maybe this time next week I'll be able to update you.
Nice. Well, shall we? Yeah. How exciting! I feel like the dogs have had a few mentions in the early parts of this program, mainly to do with weather. But yeah, never mind.
Yeah, very, very true. So much to go through today, though. Like an incredible last round of the top 14.
There's a lot of news as well, like coming out in rugby. A lot of rugby at the moment.
Yeah, it's almost like sort of trying to squeeze itself in before a few weeks of. I guess you've got the Nations Cup or whatever it's called, but of at least domestically a bit of obscurity. But there's so much going on, so we'll be covering all of the top 14 and some of the how that's shaken out. The Pro de final, which hopefully loads of you caught on FI UK, which is fantastic, and then a few petty fours. Keep it nice and simple. Rob, do you want to give us the headlines from round 26, the final round of the top 14?
There's almost only one headline, right? Like, the big news is that Union Bordeaux-Bègles have not qualified for the playoffs. Like, it is mad, isn't it, for them to finish 8th. They are genuinely a bottom half team in the top 14, despite being comprehensively the best team in Europe and therefore the world in one of the most dominant European campaigns. It's just mind-blowing. It's kind of hard to get your head around, really. Yeah, that's the big news, that Bordeaux haven't made the playoffs. In their stead, La Rochelle have surged from crisis in kind of early January to finish in sixth to take that final playoff spot. And yeah, that's the kind of main headlines. La Rochelle made it. Bordeaux lost to Clermont. Clermont themselves didn't make it because La Rochelle won. Kind of, I don't know. I'm a little bit confused as to how it's all shaken out. Kind of, how on earth did Bordeaux not make the playoffs? How on earth did Clermont not make the playoffs? I feel like Clermont have been good all year. And how are La Rochelle and Racing suddenly, how are La Rochelle and Racing? Like, Racing were relatively comfortable in the end in terms of getting in. Like, how has that happened? I don't know. It feels like, well, certainly Bordeaux, obviously, but Clermont, for example, it feels like they've been good all year. Really? It's just kind of quite hard to get your head around.
And I mean, they've missed out by a point, haven't they? Like, there's nothing, there's barely anything in it, and Bordeaux just behind that as well. It's been remarkable. I think with Bordeaux, the strange thing is it's one of those things it's been on the cards, hasn't it, for weeks, and maybe even longer than that. But I think, understandably, and certainly I was in this boat. Everyone felt that ultimately they just would have to come through.
I didn't think it was ever going to happen. I thought they were going to get it would be the last barrage spot, and it might be tricky because of the, like having to compete on two fronts, and obviously clearly there's like a kind of unknown emotional intensity that goes into the Champions Cup, and we saw them lose in the weeks that was straddled by the Champions Cup. We saw them lose to Montpellier at home, didn't we? As well. But yeah, I never thought it was going to shake out that way, and I think obviously maybe it's the best place to start. But fair play to Clermont, who were sensational in that second half to overturn, what was it, like a 17-point deficit, give or take. Like, it's not like it was nip and tuck the whole way. Like, Bordeaux got off to a bit of a flyer, and they were reeled in. Yeah, it felt at the kind of between 20 to 30 minutes, around the 30-minute mark. I think Boschton went in at kind of 26 minutes for his try. I might have got that wrong. Don't quote me on that. But it felt at that point like, okay, well, this is done now. Bordeaux are now just going to let rip. This is going to be 50. Bordeaux are going to get the attacking bonus point. They'll qualify comfortably, and then it didn't happen. It just kind of going into half time, it felt like a done deal almost. Well, actually, did they get one back just before half time? But either way, it felt kind of it was going to happen. It felt inevitable that Bordeaux were just going to let rip and come through. And it didn't. And it didn't.
Yeah. It was a strange one, and there were also, and it's very easy to say after the event, but there were elements in that second half of the Clermont performance that really reminded me of their win at Toulouse as well a few weeks back. Yeah. Like, just and I mean this
unreal at points,
in the best possible way, like desperate. Yeah, and just such a level of intensity in defence. Yeah, they were brilliant, and they were well worth it, and something. And it almost, to me, it feels like a bit of a shame after all that. Like that kind of should have been a last 16 knockout, I think, and the fact they haven't made it due to, in fairness, the likes of, as you say, Racing and La Rochelle pulling together some fantastic runs. It just feels like to go and do that under such pressure with so much on that game. It feels a shame they haven't made it, albeit they kind of killed themselves with that performance against Racing the week before, which, if you want to talk about chalk and cheese, it was, couldn't be much further apart in terms of how they shook out in those games.
They've beaten Bordeaux and away, which is pretty impressive in the last 5 games. So that's pretty impressive. Bordeaux, though, well, it's not that much of a surprise generally, I'd say, because Clermont have been a good team all year, and they sent their strongest side. Even though they were dreadful against Racing at home, I kind of never thought that it was going to be a pushover for Bordeaux. Like, I always thought it was going to be pretty tight. I would say. So I'm just looking at the table. Bordeaux finished on 14 wins out of 26. Clermont were 15, La Rochelle 15, Racing 16 and a draw. Stade Francais only 15 and 1 draw. So they've done better on bonus points. They're two wins fewer than Pau. but maybe beating Bordeaux away is not that much of an issue. Like, it's not that hard. 4 teams have done it this year. Yeah, 4 teams have beaten Bordeaux at Stade Chabannes, which is not good. Like, that puts them, well, it probably doesn't put them actually that far down. It puts them 7th in the league in terms of home record. So it's not, but yeah. I thought on the game generally, like, I mean, Harry Plummer has had quite the season, and this was
incredible.
Just obviously the drop goal seals it, but there was the charge down in the first half. His kicking was excellent all game. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else played. Oh, right, okay. So sorry, I'll have some overall thoughts on Bordeaux. Bordeaux have the second biggest operating budget, I think.
Well, I don't know,
Second or third. It's top 3, isn't it? Right, and like I've seen some stuff from.
When you say operating budget, do you mean overall or playing?
It's like whatever gets quoted. It's like
Okay.
Toulouse, then it's I think Bordeaux or Lyon, isn't it? Whatever gets quoted in Rugby Rama. I've seen. I'm having right mind blank this morning, but the geezer that was the chairman or president been saying it's hard to compete on 2 fronts. So, well, you've got a massive budget, and you look at that. You look at that team, and I think it was actually more that they became too reliant on certain players like Jalabert. Like, I think the drop off from, and I know that Carberry, they had Carberry in there and he's injured. So, like, budget wise, they've signed a guy that was the Ireland starting fly half a while back, like not a proper international player. They picked up the guy who dominated France under 20s, albeit has kind of not translated that into the top 14 in any way. Where it's all gone wrong for Bordeaux this season has been at the line out, and they have 2 current international hookers. They picked up the captain, no, not captain, but one of the leading hookers in the league from a smaller club, and who was an excellent line-out thrower.
To be second choice,
and is now disastrous at line. He captained France, Gaetan Barlow, who captained France against the All Blacks last summer. And so you can't, I'm not having, we can't compete on 2 fronts, we haven't got the squad depth. It's like you've picked up a guy who last summer, in his penultimate game before he joined you, was captain for France against the All Blacks to be your second choice. And like, ultimately, across the season, where they've gone wrong is their line-out. Their line-out has been shambolic at times. Actually, no, not shambolic. It's just they've bottled it with their line-out at key points. All the games they've lost, it's always been a line-out that's gone wrong on the 5-metre line, or they've had plenty of opportunities in the opposition 22 at line-out time, and they've just cocked up the line out big time. It was almost comical, some of Barlow's throwing towards the end. You just know that it's just not going to be straight, or it's going to be overthrown or whatever. And I'm not pinning this all on Barlow, because it's also Lamotte as well in certain games. Like I think the loss at home to Bordeaux, they had 2 chances in the 22 in the last 5 minutes, and Lamotte cocked them up. And yes, it's probably easier when you've got Woki who's injured or whoever, but I'm just not having that they've not got the depth to compete on 2 fronts. When you look at the teams above them, like look at Pau.
Yeah, like, but they're not competing on 2 fronts. So
Montpellier.
Yeah, I do. I agree to an extent. I think I agree on paper that it's difficult, because there's still, I need to dig this out, so I'd need to double check, but I'm pretty sure the playing budget, or like the salary costs of Toulouse, for instance, are something like €2 million up on Bordeaux. What I would say is that they've and
that's because of internationals, though, and Bordeaux are getting the international credits because look how many of them are playing in that France squad.
Yeah, but that historically that's not quite been the case, right? So they're probably not. They probably haven't quite reaped the rewards of that just yet. I think the thing for me is that I agree about the over reliance, and I think it also just talks to like the absolute brilliance of Jalabert. Like I feel like even though everyone has rightly said he's been amazing this year, I think we've been quite good at saying that like this guy is playing rugby from another planet, and like he has hauled Bordeaux.
Okay, he's playing games. Amazing, but like no, literally this guy is amazing.
And he should have been European Player of the Year for
was
mine.
He not?
No, it was BLBRA.
You're fucking kidding me.
No, it was Louis BLBRA. Was Player of the Year.
Wasn't Jalabert?
No. But anyway, that's by the by. But to your point, I agree that actually it's not like they've lost 4 games at home. They're not the reason that, losing to Pau and Stade Francais, or before Pau were flying in the league and things like that. That's not. I don't think that's like a squad depth issue. If they've lost loads on the road, then that comes into it a little bit more. But I feel like when you've got, and they have had some injuries, right? But it feels it. Yeah, I'm halfway between. Like they don't quite have yet maybe the same budget as a Toulouse, but they've also, there's a lot of quality there. Like Barlow, Pagerello, guys like that who are first choice for, or would be first choice for so many other sides. And I think where they've maybe struggled a little bit is some of those guys haven't quite played the amount of rugby they should have done, because Bordeaux throughout the league have always been a little bit on the back foot and been chasing for quite a while, right? It's not like they were second and have plummeted. They've probably had to extend their best 23 a bit more than they'd hoped. And ultimately, they had a home, whatever you want to call it, pre-barrage knockout game to make it to the last to the knockouts, and they've fluffed it. Like, it was within their hands, regardless of squad. So yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit disingenuous for them to say they're not minnows, are they?
No. Laurent Marty, that's his name, isn't it? That's his name. I think that's kind of what I was saying about, like, I don't quite understand how it's happened, because you mentioned the away games. They've had some, the
good results.
The B plus team has been pretty good away. They dug out a really good win at the end against Lyon, when Lyon looked like they were actually caring in a game. They obviously, beating Bayonne in Stade Francais is not necessarily the best marker these days, but that was an impressive comeback and late victory. And yeah, I think like that. Yeah, they've got 5 away wins.
Yeah,
you're right. It's just, and that was not always with the Shags. The A team. It was kind of a rotated squad. They've cocked it up at home more than anything.
Yeah, completely.
And like that Stade Francais loss, that was it felt watching it like, God, they are really messing this up. It was just a sloppy performance. I would say in this game they looked a little bit panicky. It looked very un-Bordeaux. They looked a little bit panicky the more that second half went on. And actually, some of those guys who have played a lot of rugby were starting to look a little bit tired. Not necessarily tired, but like making the mistakes that you don't necessarily associate with them. And like, you didn't see the impact, and you didn't see Luku and BLBRA at their absolute best.
Yeah.
The other thing about this is, like, they were on top in the scrum. Like, Sardi was absolutely dominating Clermont, and it was a pretty similar, like, to the extent that when Bordeaux were not throwing it straight, Clermont were electing for a line out, which is quite rare.
Particularly for Clermont.
For Clermont, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I thought Massa was great. Talking of French hookers, I thought he was really, really good. Boschton again was excellent. Like the open try that was missed by Yerim Fall is just staggering. And it's not a perfect pass, but he has to catch it and fall over the line. And like 48 minutes is like, well, that's it. That's Clermont's chance gone. Bordeaux will now run away with it, and they just kept on top of them. It was a really impressive performance from Clermont, and I do feel a little bit gutted for them. I don't know. I just feel like they deserve it. Yeah, I feel like they've been so good all year compared to La Rochelle, who were genuinely crap for a prolonged period. Yeah. Should we move on to La Rochelle? Yeah,
but it must be. I mean, what, they won six in a row, including three away games. It's a hell of a turnaround. Yeah, I mean, the away wins. Obviously, I think Montemont was in there, right? But they snuck it away at Perpignan, who actually were in an okay patch. Went away to Racing, first team to win there, I think, at that point a couple of weeks ago.
Only team to win there, yeah.
Only team to win at La Défense. And then to come past Stade Francais, and what was obviously it was kind of all at the same time, so I didn't see too much, but looked like a pretty impressive performance. They were, I think, 10 points down at one point as well, so not entirely straightforward. Stade Francais sent a couple of changes, but a pretty decent side.
I think no Carbonell was pretty key.
I mean, he has been phenomenal this year.
They still had Caballo So it wasn't, and Matassi came off the bench. The centres were Nene and Ward. Yeah, it was still a pretty good side that they sent. There was a couple missing. It was a dominant performance in a weird way. I looked at the possession stats and it was 52%. I was like, that's just a lie. There is no way that Stade Francais had 48% of possession. The territory was 58% La Rochelle, and you're like, okay, that is a bit more believable. The fact that they were down by 9 points despite being completely dominant in terms of possession and territory. I was trying to think like at half time, like, how are Stade Francais looking in attack? Are they, with Forsans there and those two guys in the centres and Villa? And I was like, well, actually, they haven't had any ball, so we've not seen their attack. I thought, like, La Rochelle should have, talking of bad lineouts, wow, the La Rochelle lineout is embarrassingly bad. Like, it is. I think they're also the 13th in the scrummaging ranks in the league, which for La Rochelle is a bit of an issue. So, I don't quite know how they've got into sixth with those sorts their stats, but they had so much possession and territory and they couldn't convert it because they'd kept cocking up the lineouts. And they do eventually get it right towards the end, and that's what gets them the try to kind of seal it. But I was really impressed with. They also at scrum time got a few calls that were a little bit dubious, like they were popped up, they were going backwards, and the refs giving it their way. I think they're certainly fallible. I know they're in a great run of form, but they had a lot go their way in this game, and still only just scraped it. Like, I was really impressed with Stade Francais. The defence is excellent. The physicality in the scrum is excellent, and in the maul. What I would say, Langevala should have been on the shortlist for Player of the Weekend. I don't know how he wasn't. He was so damn good. Like, I think in this game he topped the stats for line breaks, turnovers, meters, offloads. Which is like, and not like streets ahead, but he was just top or joint top for all of them. Him and Lower kind of battling it out for the guys that have come, the Fijian centres that have come from Pro D2 and tearing up top 14. There were almost the two of them on Saturday were who could be the better player. Langevala, I thought was he's been such good form recently. He's a really good player. Legaric again was obviously really, really good. I would say Botti didn't have his best game, but yeah,
Carded as well, wasn't he? Yeah, Langevala. That was pretty much my notes. It was one of those sort of, in a way, it sometimes feels like only a Fijian can, just looking head and shoulders above. He was absolutely exceptional. Very, very impressive.
One guy who had a good game but also missed an open try was Paul Boudon, who just like with three of them, all he has to do is pick it up and go to line. He decides to kick it. He's got no Stade Francais player anywhere near him, kicks it and just slices it into touch. He's inside the 22. He's got a free run to the line if he picks it up, goes for the grubber. And it was almost as soon as he went to kick it, it's like, well, this is definitely not going to go well. Doesn't look like a natural kicker, does he? For all his skills, Paul Boudon.
Yeah, he also, regardless of the execution, as a rugby player, he doesn't look like someone who's going to be that adept, like grubbering or anything. He's too brick-like, I think, for that to have that dexterity. But yeah, fine player. And then I think we've spoken about it a bit. Like they have now got guys back from injury and in form, and obviously they're still missing some pretty big names. But yeah, it'll be interesting, given particularly how impressed you were with Stade Francais with a slightly changed up side, how they go, because they've set up the reverse fixture in whatever it is 5 days time. It should be a lot of fun.
I think we'll move on to that in a bit. I did enjoy, obviously, with all these playing simultaneously, the amount any time they cut to the sidelines, the amount of players just on their phones kind of reminded me slightly of like our days on Saturdays at cricket, where you've got best part of 3 hours just watching your team while there's like a Champions Cup final or the Test match or the Champions League final, and you're like, right, everyone else is on there. They're kind of half watching the game they're actually meant to be involved in.
Yeah, saw Mathieu Jalibert was a good example of that as well.
Jegu was literally like
some batteries being drained.
Yeah,
very good. And then I guess the other sort of consequential game in the end, Racing, who we mentioned there, off the back of, as of Stade Francais, but I don't think we framed this at the top, right? But Toulouse are the only side from last year's top six
Yeah.
to have maintained their place, which is quite incredible. Yeah, amazing statistic. But Racing, who were quite some emotional scenes at the end. Old Colazo was pretty. Yeah, I think it's meant a lot after what happened last year and the heat they've come under, and it's a pretty impressive feat. Having
Maybe he was just sad about not being able to coach the Barbarians against the Springboks because wasn't he meant to be doing that next
was
week or
it?
whatever it is? Yeah.
I hadn't realised that.
I remember when the coaching team got announced, it was like that coincides with maybe it's the semi-finals, but it's like, oh, okay.
Interesting. Oh, I hadn't noticed that. But yeah, so Racing will go to your boys. They kind of got over the line. It seemed like a little bit strange, the Toulouse game. Toulouse were kind of, obviously it's a strong Toulouse side, but a bit chopped and changed. Kinghorn at 10, which I think was how you thought they would go.
Yeah, we nailed it. We said Kinghorn at 10, Remu at 15.
Couple of interesting moments, like Kinghorn's crossfield going into touch and them scoring from the quick line out, Saito's charge down. You're like, yeah, there's a couple of things here that might suggest Toulouse aren't totally on their game.
Wasn't Kinghorn like 0 from 4 or 5 off the tee as well?
Quite possibly, yeah, quite possibly.
Although at least one of them was quite tricky. Yeah, and Lacombe
in the back row.
Fourth choice hooker at flanker, yeah. It was definitely an element of resting up players. What I loved, I've only seen the highlights of this because I was watching the other two games live. What I loved about this was that we kind of haven't really spoken about just the sheer drama of the simultaneous kickoffs. And I know that happens with most kind of end of seasons, but in this, because it was so tight and there were so many different permutations, like kind of during last week, putting together like what each player needs, and you could go through the scenarios. I think in the end, I had about 8 or 9 different scenarios that were all quite feasible, that could have happened, that all had a different order in the top 6 or top 8, and just the amount it was changing. At one point, I think when Bordeaux started losing, I was trying to tweet about it, and the position changed in the space of me writing out the 150 characters or 200, whatever, how many characters you've got, changed twice in just trying to write it. It was just amazing. And centered generally on Racing, because Racing were down for quite a large, and La Rochelle being down for quite a large proportion of the game as well. It was just, I loved it. Like the amount of drama, trying to follow it was quite hard in terms of you kind of lost track of actual watching games because you're focused on the scenarios. I did enjoy at one point. They would do, Robbie Knock and Mertz would do it. I think they were the La Rochelle game, weren't they? Robbie Knock kind of set out like all these permutations, and Mertz was just like, what happens if there's a full moon?
That's a lovely touch.
But yeah, because Racing this was a lot tighter than it should have been. A lot tighter than it should have been.
Yeah, agreed. But they snuck through. They also in the week had former Racing man. It looked like getting heroes welcome. Chris Marceau was with them, rocked up at training.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it looked like there were a few of the old coaches getting stuck into him. But whether that helped or hindered, I don't know. But they managed to come through it. Yeah, so they go to Pau. Rob, how do you feel about that?
Are we moving on to next week? Are we?
Well, no, but I want to. Yeah, I just want while we're talking about Racing, I want your thoughts.
Touch wood, big time. I think Pau have had the best outcome that they could have had from this weekend. I think, because we also get to, this is mad to say, I think getting to lose in a semi-final rather than potentially, well, no, it would be Montpellier, rather than Montpellier, is a better outcome for Pau. And I think this is going to come back to bite me so badly. But I think Racing or La Rochelle would be who you want. And I think we match up what Racing have been good at recently. I think we match up to that well. I nearly said really well. Like their biggest threat to us over, we've got the best 12 in the league. Antoine Gibert's crossfield kicks, we've got amazing guys under the high ball and on crossfield kicks. Look at the way they defended against a Toulouse not quite full strength pack, and they conceded basically like not 4 maul tries, but three tries from close range. Maul tries, our driving maul is excellent. So And they don't have a particularly, like, think of our weaknesses. They don't have a particularly good scrum, particularly if the Georgians aren't starting. Like I think Bamba and who's the reserve tight head? Loosehead. Anyway, their backup props aren't very good. Their discipline's not great. We've got an amazing goal kicker.
Yeah, this just screams
30 points to 13 win for Racing.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh god, I've put it out there now. I've put it out in the universe now.
Yeah, let's see. I'm kind of I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if no. I think,
their centres are their biggest threats,
right?
Their centres are the biggest threats, and we've got two fantastic centres.
Yeah, I think you're. I think in terms of matchups, I think you're probably right.
We match up better than against them than we do
than against the Stade Francais,
and also like potential to go into that semi-final to win if we got La Rochelle or Racing. I think we match up pretty well against both of them, but that semi-final we match up not well at all against Montpellier or Stade Francais because of the physicality of their pack and just the brutishness of their defence as well. Whereas I don't think La Rochelle and Racing have that. Well, they don't have that scrum dominance and they don't have that sheer physicality in their defence the same way that Montpellier and Stade do. Obviously, Toulouse are Toulouse, so like it's semi-final, it'd be a huge shock for anything other than a 25-point plus win for Toulouse, to be honest, in a semi-final. But yeah, you'd rather go down that route as a Po fan.
I can see the logic in that.
What I don't like, or what I've noticed, not only and I think you kind of called this out to an extent about the Pro de Deux stuff, not only do they get a week off, but both the Barrage winners will come off a 6-day turnaround. So not only do you have to play an extra game, you then have a 6-day turnaround. So Po will play on the Saturday. Po and Racing will play on the Saturday. The winner then plays the Friday evening semi-final. And Stade Francais and La Rochelle will play on the Sunday. And the winner of that will have a Saturday evening semi-final against a team that's not played or had a week off as well. That feels quite harsh.
It's a massive difference. I think as well, a lot of people who know a lot more about this sort of thing than I do. I think the difference between a 6 and 7 day turnaround in terms of recovery is pretty vast, like 8 and 7 if you're Saturday to Sunday. And it obviously makes a bit of a difference, but not quite as much. But just in terms of the amount of training you're able to do, I think makes a big difference. I think it's a very fair call out.
I think the semis should be Friday. Sorry, the barrage should be Friday, Saturday, so that then that Friday barrage, that first barrage game, both teams are going off a 6-day turnaround. You've both had, so in this example, Po and Racing have both had a game on Saturday and then they go into the Friday. And then at least they get the full 7 days in the build-up. So it is stacked in favour of Montpellier and Toulouse.
Yeah, totally. Oh, it's gonna be good. Just to sum up a couple of there are a couple of proper dead rubbers, but a couple of little headlines from Bayonne finally win at Stade Rondegé in 2026. Friend of the pod, Alex Moon, made the Midi Olympic Team of the Week in what I'm pretty sure is his last game for Bayonne. So congrats to him. And my boys Cast finish on something of a high, in spite of the very best efforts of a guy who a little while ago we were speaking about a lot, Joey Kerry-Kareba, who set up and scored a couple of absolute worldies in this and looked very, very slippery.
Surprised he wasn't playing in this. He's played a lot of sevens, so I'm surprised he wasn't at the Bordeaux sevens, because I know Arfoy was tearing it up in the sevens this weekend. But yeah, he's kind of that sort of hybrid athlete player, isn't he? Just capable of some unreal stuff. Yeah,
very, very explosive. And also it was, I don't know if it'll be his last game ever. There was talk of it, but I don't think it's unfair to say, one of the most watchable, one of the probably best players of the last 15 years. Leone Nakarawa scored in his last game and also nailed the conversion with his final touch for Cast.
It was quite odd, wasn't it? Like Pierre Popelin's like setting it up for him, and then he's like, no. It's almost like Popelin's meant to say it, and then someone said no. Let King Leone, and he's like readjusted it on the tee, and I mean he is like
gets timed out.
There was a tweet about Nicolo, wasn't there, about his try scoring records, and I kind of went off the back of it, and like Chris Ashton still holds the record for most tries in a season. I was like, who are the other guys that have been legit genuine, like not quite modern greats is a bit overselling it, but like have done ridiculous things at the top level in so many different ways, and yet would never get to. You'd never put Chris Ashton in like a team of the century or anything like that. But like, there's so many arguments that you could. Nakarawa is a good example of one of those guys. Like,
incredible player,
like unbelievable second row. Like, probably not got the titles, but he does also have an Olympic gold medal. So
yeah,
like, just
as a
second row, like that is such a phenomenal achievement, and just like, yeah, one of the guys you would never put him. He's never going to be team of the decade, because there's always going to be like Itoje and Etzebeth and all the boring ones. No,
Leone. Yeah, genuine modern legend. Who knows? Maybe there's a sting in the tail. Maybe there's a season at like Narbonne or.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You know he's rocking up at Narbonne next season.
Oh, let's hope so. That would be so good. I would love nothing more. Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible.
Is Patheliato leaving Perpignan?
I'm not sure. Is he
I
off?
don't know.
I know he's back in the Fiji squad for the Autumn Nations.
I was going to say, like, surely if he's out of contract as well, he could just nip down the road, play at Narbonne. Feels like
that would be sensational, wouldn't it? That Fiji squad, by the way, which I know was, I think, announced last week, and it happens all the time, but as you make your way through it, it's like a kind of the coach. It's like
like a kid
in a sweet shop for trying to pick a backline is just incredible.
Mangala didn't even make the squad.
Yeah, just phenomenal.
Which, when you consider that we've also spoken about Langavala, lower, and then a guy who we'll probably come on to talk about in Petuniata, like none of them are in the squad. It's just like,
so cool.
The guy,
it's amazing to watch. The only game we haven't spoken about, we've spoken about Poe's hopes next week, but they at one point were, I thought maybe at least the try bonus point wasn't going to happen. Conceded a few. Montemont going out with a little bit of spirit,
albeit shipping 70 odd again. So
I wonder
how many times that is now.
I did see there was quite
certainly the last 3 games they've conceded 70.
They put out quite a good post, didn't they, Montemont, with their sort of the
Terminator.
Yeah. Ready for
it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were kind of their badge on Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then like Pro de Deux was like the people they're speaking to, and all the club badges of the other Pro de Deux teams. And it's like, I'm back.
Yeah, very good. We spoke a bit about Poe next week. Do you want to touch briefly on the
Montpellier won as well.
They did, actually, a decent win away at Lyon.
Yeah.
Who obviously didn't have a huge amount to play for, but have been quite hard to get past. And also they picked like a proper side, Lyon.
Full noise. But also Montpellier were full noise basically as well.
Yeah, so a well-earned point. Was it by it was quite tight, wasn't it? 28, 25?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another impressive. So what does that make Montpellier's like winning run now? It's or in terms of they've lost 2 of the last.
Top 14 wise, they have lost 1 of their last 10.
That's incredible.
Which was away at Toulouse. With a B team. With a B team, and they denied Toulouse a bonus point.
Yeah.
So top 14 wise, that was a while ago now. And also you factor in 100% of the Challenge Cup?
Yeah.
Were they in the end? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Billy Vunapola's stats on All Rugby. He's won all of his last 12 games.
Bloody hell.
He's got 3 yellow cards in his last 5 matches, which is a decent effort, but yeah, some things don't change. But yeah, really, really impressive.
So the second barrage, I would fancy Stade Francais.
Yeah,
I think so. Partly, I mean, La Rochelle, they're in really good form, but this was pretty close, and like we said, La Rochelle had so many chances to bury it, and I think how bad their line out was, and you bring back in Gabriag, which will help. Their scrum, like the Stade Francais scrum, is just so powerful, and I don't think La Rochelle currently have the depth to deal with that, and Carbonell. will make a huge difference, because they'll be able to get more quick ball, and he will make a difference playing alongside Ward and Nene. Nene was class in the game. I just think they're too powerful, and I think the defense is. I still don't think La Rochelle threaten in enough different ways in attack. They're still missing quite a few of some of their outside backs like Noel, Lades, those guys who have been slight different makers. Like Niniashvili is still class, obviously, but I just think that the Stade Francais defence should be able to handle them. As good as Langevala was, and he does make a difference, I think.
Yeah, it feels like at worst case scenario for Stade Francais, they kind of gain parity across everyone in the back line, and probably a little bit more than that. And you're right, the scrum and just their aggression up front
and
I'm kind of with you
row
there.
They'll boost as well. So
should be a good one though.
Should be tight. Like, that's not to say that I think it'll be tight. I think I don't think it's going to be. I don't think Stade Francais will have it all their own way. But I just think they've got a little bit. I think they've just got too much power. And that La Rochelle line out is just shambolic.
Misfiring. Right. Let's look forward. And Rob, remind me, they are on
Saturday evening and Sunday evening, 8 p.m. UK or 9 p.m. French time, 8 p.m. UK time.
Delightful. Okay. And sorry, just one last thing for me on Stade Francais, La Rochelle. At the end of the game at Marcel de Flandre, just gone, there was a hacker from Ehigh West and Tawira Care Barlow for Weenie Atonio.
Oh, nice.
Who had some tears in the eye. It was very sweet. Also, I think it's Ehigh West's son, who must be like 3, is just lobbing a rugby ball at his dad while he's doing it. It's like this, iconic moment, and he's just there being an absolute scamp.
Being a toddler.
It's brilliant. It's really, really nice. Yeah, or was it Marcel de Flandre? Like, it was...
That was it, the way it erupted, yeah.
Like,
amazing.
Real bear pit stuff. It was very cool. Okay, shall we park it there? Because we've got some... Pro Day Day. So much to talk about in just a moment. All right, Rob. Van, back in the promised land after a fantastic final, I thought.
Yeah.
Kindly brought to us by our pals over at FIUK. I think a probably more exciting, more high quality. I felt it had so much, this game. Yeah, where to start? I mean, congratulations to Van. Obviously, they were the standout side in the league all year. Provence came in an amazing form, and I think we both felt there was more than a chance they could be done at Ernest Vallon, in spite of what must have been the whole of Van, it seemed, being in Toulouse.
Well, we were just talking there about how good the Marcel de Flandre was. I mean, just the vibes from the fans from Van was just unbelievable. Like, so good. The pitch invasion afterwards, it looked like the whole town was taken. I've seen so many clips of Van fans in Toulouse. It just looked absolutely epic. When you've got ici c'est la Rabine, like being blared out in Toulouse is and Allez les Bleus. Just fair. I mean, there was a decent amount of Provence fans, but Jesus, those Van fans really. I guess they kind of could have been fairly confident that they were gonna make the final, and therefore were able to in advance buy tickets. But all the same, unbelievable energy and atmosphere that they brought.
Yeah, awesome. The game itself as well, I thought both, but maybe particularly from a Van side as well, maybe showed. But we saw their box kicking game, kick chase, but showed a bit more on the counter and were a bit more aggressive. Ambitious. ball in hand. Really impressive. I mean, he was man of the match. Ruru was sublime. Also, I mean, the quite rare you see a scrum for both sides be so instructive in how the game finished up. Like Provence in the first half, Thomas Francis was
unbelievable,
terminating scrums left, right, and centre, to go back to the Montemont reference. And then they managed to sort of steady it with Schonert, didn't they? And then get some real ascendancy in the second half. Van, it was I just thought it had kind of a bit of bit of everything this game.
Scrub battle was fascinating, wasn't it? Because Wegrazan went off like they were dominating Medrano, weren't they, as well? And Wegrazan then went off injured, and Nostat came on, and he like dominates Medrano. Then they bring on Schonert, and that Schonert's first scrum, it like switches back completely, and he minces Nostat. And then the turning point is they take off Mako, Van take off Mako, and bring on De Benedictis. And Francis goes off around the same time. But I think actually there was a few scrums of Francis versus Wawa, as they call him, De Benedictis. And I'm not sure about the legality of Wawa's scrummaging, if I'm honest. I think basically, because he won like 4 scrum penalties, I think and yeah, I'm no scrum expert, but sometimes you look at an angle and you're like, that looks, yeah. That doesn't look particularly straight. I think he was kind of going in, and and the ref was on the other side. So like, I think if the ref had been on that side, they might have picked it up. And obviously you've got assistant referees and stuff. But I just think that was the thing that turned it was Van Scrum suddenly getting scrum penalties, and I'm not sure about some of those calls, which maybe I was kind of looking at it because I wanted a game, and I knew that Provence were always the underdog in that game. But yeah, Wawa scrummaging, which was the turning point, I think, yeah, not sure about the legality of that.
Yeah,
just take the edge off that Van win. It was a weird game though, because it did look like, for all that Provence got the early scrum dominance, 20 minutes in, you're like, Jesus, this could be record score territory in a final sort of thing. Like they were just so dominant, Van, and had so much territory. And the fact that on the counter they were being more ambitious and making yards with it, you're like, God, even the stuff that they're not meant to be good at compared to Provence, they are excelling,
dominating.
And it was just, it looked like it was going to be, the first 20 minutes was one-way traffic. And for whatever it was, the Ruru, I was surprised Ruru got man of the match. I think I'd have given it to Gorison, because at one point it looked like his knock-on close to line was the Ben Stevenson back in September or whatever it was, when he was like, he tries to snipe around the fringes a little bit too much. It looked like that had cost them, because he knocks it on, and it was almost from that point that Provence came back into it. Yeah, it was the second part of the first half was great, wasn't it? Because you suddenly had Provence fighting back, and it looked like with Batuniata like basically giving the ball. He's so quick, like because he can get on the outside arc because he's so quick, and then when he does, he's got so much power, and his offloading game is super. He is the best offloader in Pro D2 statistically. And then when the way that Varero was coming into the line as well, just creating a bit of magic. The try they score, which involves both of those guys, is for a final is what a try. Like the offload from Batuniata is ridiculous. Like kind of out the back, kind of just like only a Fijian can do that.
Yeah, it was outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the pop off the deck from Varero. They did though. As much as Ruru cocked it up, they had a break, didn't they? Like Cavill also had a bit of a cock up. Both scrum halves at half time had missed gilt-edged opportunities, and Batuniata like sets Finau through, and Finau's 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, sets it up perfectly. I don't know whether the pass is slightly high, slightly behind Cavill. Cavill overruns it, but he drops it when he's got a clear run to the line with about 20 meters to go. That was also a pretty key moment, and you felt if Provence were going to win it, they had to take that sort of chance. It wasn't kind of you have to take every chance, otherwise they'll lose. But it was when you get such an opportunity like that, and they were creating quite a few opportunities. But yeah, that was possibly another point where they lost it.
Yeah, I thought we mentioned Finau and Batuniata was amazing as he has been. Like I don't think he played that much at centre before.
I think it was his first start at 13.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Game.
Yeah. Absolute revelation. I thought both Van centres, and they've been, I know, kind of had an eye on Tokola for quite a while, but both him and Boudon I thought were brilliant as well. I can't remember which one it is who almost kind of ghosts. It was kind of, there was like a bit of he kind of goes around Batuniata, gets the ball inside, and I can't remember who gets back to make, it might even be like Zafra gets on the loose ball. There's it's not too dissimilar break from the one that Batuniata makes in the first half, and obviously he does get it away to Varero. But I thought they were brilliant. Gorison was outstanding, wasn't he? Like just some of the very much captain, big moments, big
moments,
plays.
yeah. Just getting in the way. Like there was a
couple
few
of interceptions,
yeah,
which
or like a
is
turnover when it was they had their backs to the wall and stuff like that. It's like that sort of
yeah.
I was about to make an outrageous comparison, but I was about to compare him to Dupont in the Champions Cup final a couple of years ago.
Same ilk. But yeah, it was a brilliant game, and even the way that it felt like after the Stevenson try, which was a fantastic finish,
What a finish.
Incredible finish, and he was
with
brilliant
a as we have since found out, carrying a little bit of an injury for the team coming into the game, which is to then finish it off like that is just unreal moment, because he was a lovely bloke when we chatted to him. And he was just loving his time in Van. Obviously,
and he's been great all season as well.
He's been great all season. He's had missed quite a few games recently with injury. So to come back and kind of be like, I'm still an absolute baller here with that sort of finish.
Yeah,
that was the kind of clinical. That was kind of how it felt like Van were going to win. Like scrum they got advantage off the scrum, didn't they? Ruri goes blind, and it's just an execution of that, very well worked, very good skill execution. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and I think they were. I think they were great value for their win. Like they were the best. I think they were the best side for big parts, and Provence were. You say they were the underdogs coming in, and their ability to create something from not very much is quite impressive. There's proper game breakers in there, aren't there?
Yeah,
they've now host Perpignan. What do we reckon? USAP, who kind of rested up the vast majority in that hammering at Stade Dégé, but I guess was to be expected. Can Provence do it?
I'm split on this. I think I said a couple of weeks ago that if I thought when we were talking about whether two teams could go up, I'm not sure if like Provence mentally could back it up. And I do think there's an element of that. Like Varero was struggling with an injury. I think someone else Wegrezan, so they're down to their third and fourth choice loose head, which when you lose two international loose heads is quite key against Perpignan, which has always been it's going to be Brooks, isn't it? Really, an absolute dominator in the top 14. That's going to be pretty key, especially the way they struggled in the second half, albeit on the tight head side. Francis has put in some serious shift. I hope he's fit as well. There was someone I think that also went off injured. I think Finau was struggling because they kind of took him off and then had to bring him back on, and obviously he missed the previous week. Yeah, I just worry about like the injuries they've had. The fact that they've had to play that team 3-4 weeks in a row to get to the position that they're in might take its toll. That said, I think there's something that has to be said for being battle hardened. Like, my thoughts all season on teams that have just been rotating and getting their comeuppance when they haven't got game time into their players. When was the last time we saw a full strength Perpignan side? And what does that even look like? I mean, I hope the coaches know, but if you're a Perpignan fan, I don't think you'd really know. When did the last time some of these guys, I don't even know if the guys are injured or not, or whether they're just rested. Is Erda Bajetta their first choice? I don't know. Maybe he is.
I think he is. Yeah. They've also.
I just don't see how they're going to have any cohesion, because none of these guys are actual on the field game time for their first 15 has been non-existent since about March.
Yeah, you do. It's interesting, isn't it? It's kind of you've been saying Joe Worsley hasn't been giving a huge amount away on commentary, perhaps unsurprisingly, but they've effectively had
3 months,
maybe even more, to prepare for this game, and is that how they've been? For all we know, there is this perfectly oiled machine somewhere of this group of 15, 23 that we don't quite know what it is. Yeah, it's fascinating. I think Perpignan, have they won an away game this year? I don't think they have. Albeit they've been one or two. No, they went to Bordeaux, although maybe Bordeaux are not quite there, and they definitely had one eye on the Champions Cup then. But yeah, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to call. Yeah, I think you're kind of right. Like some of those front row injuries now for Provence could be enough to tilt it. But they'll get Lepeg will be back right after his ban.
And Celio was a little bit. I mean, he did some good stuff, but he looked a few things at the back end of that game, didn't he? He kind of dropped a couple of balls that could have made a difference. If you've got someone who's like a exquisite finisher like Lepeg in your side, maybe that's a bit different. Or you don't get those mistakes from Lepeg. Haven't seen much of Drouet. I think like there's an element of like there's also still more to come from Provence, because I think we haven't seen that much of Drouet. Like we didn't see loads of Muntz in attack, and we know how good Muntz is. I mean, there's an argument that like we kind of you and I between us did a composite 15 for Provence versus Van, and it was Provence heavy. You could easily do the same for Provence versus Perpignan and get a Provence heavy lineup. Like I'd pick Muntz at 10.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I think so.
Although Batuniata versus Dungivalu, if that is how it shapes up, what a battle that is going to be. Two game breakers, Tuasui versus Yato. You've got, some of the matchups are going to be great. I wonder if, I think the thing that's always a key in this game is the physicality, isn't it? Like, and I think Provence, provided they are near full strength, that pack, we've seen that pack be so good at maul defence and just around the park and at the breakdown. I'm really intrigued to see how it matches up to a top 14 team, because you'd expect the top 14 team to be too powerful, and it could be. I don't know whether it'll be parity or not. Like we could find out that Perpignan's physicality is way ahead of Provence, and Provence is just physical for Pro D2. So it'd be really interesting to see that.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Who wins it?
Perpignan.
I think Perpignan win it, yeah.
Yeah, for me, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but I'd love to see two sides from Pro D2 go up.
I think it'd also be quite fun to have Perpignan and Pro D2 again. Just get them, like, they've been a bit of a reset. Feels like they need the reset. Like when you bring in Erda Bajetta as your 10 halfway through the season, that screams club in need of a reset. Blink out retirement.
Get him in.
Yes.
Get him in the centres.
That is, I think, as someone said on Twitter, that's on TV5 Monde, which is the French channel that you can get in the UK. So it'll be French commentary, but I think you can get it for free in the UK. I can't remember. I've looked into this before. I think you can. I don't think it's on Sky, in the Sky channels.
Can you watch it online?
Find it online?
Yeah. I'm sure they'll. Yeah, so a few people have come out of the woodwork saying that, so I'm sure they'll be able to provide some links. I will certainly be trying to sniff that out. That's Sunday, isn't it?
Sunday at
5, I think.
UK time.
Yeah. So do try and tune in for that. It could be a huge one. Rob, I guess Pro D2 will do like a proper wrap up team of the year in a few weeks, I would have thought.
Possibly next week, because all the Pro D2 is done now because that's a top 14 game. But
all right, let's do it next week.
Maybe we'll do it next week.
Exciting. Right. Back in a sec. A couple of petty thoughts. Rob, I have not got that much. Maybe we've been sort of so immersed in actual games that I feel like I've been a bit poor at mining the stories, the fun stuff going on around. But you reckon you've got a few petty fours lined up and ready?
Have you seen the video outside Chez Tonton of Van fans?
I have not.
Here you go, Richard. I'm going to show it to my snazzy new camera. I'm going to show it, and I've now just lost it, but I have saved it down. Describe what is going on here.
That is Van fans. Well, there's a lot of flares. There's a lot of pastis, I assume, being drunk, and there are also some Van fans scrummaging a car.
I thought for a moment it was a police car, but it's a normal car. Yeah, there's a lot of flares. I think that's pre-game as well. Yeah, avant le finale. That's pre-game.
Amazing.
I was just enjoying it. A lot of I feel like I saved down loads of the stuff of like the Van scenes generally, like celebrations and stuff like that, because some of it is just so good. The like how they go about it. Yeah, like some of the footage from on the walls as well. Of the ramparts. The ramparts, that's it,
yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
And like in the evening as well. That's in Van. Anyway, sorry. The other, just on Van, we didn't talk about Julien Dupuis.
Oh, the moment of the season.
with just standing in the coaching box, fag in mouth. And I think it was altered on Blue Sky, said that's a €750 fine, which I assume is like the fine for smoking indoors. He wasn't actually smoking, but he had his fag in his mouth.
Incredible.
And then already Van are looking for 3 délocalisations next season. So games at which they didn't do at all last time round, did they?
They had one, didn't they? They had one
not in top 14, I don't think.
Oh,
that was
not in
against
top 14.
Provence, wasn't it?
In Pro Day, they had Rennes this year.
I think maybe because they wanted to play on the Rabin factor, but they're looking at 3 next year: Rennes, Nantes, and the Stade de France.
Yeah, I saw the Stade de France thing. I'm not entirely convinced by by that, but
It'd be quite good fun though.
yeah.
I reckon. Imagine that atmosphere from Saturday, but in the Stade de France.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, right. I'll rattle through a few. You mentioned earlier the hacker for Winnie Antonio. There was a hacker for Luke Whitelock, but also Poe-related, someone celebrating his 100 caps this season. Rhys Hewitt got sent a pair of Rhys Hewitt-themed Section Powers budgie smugglers.
Amazing.
Which was good. We've talked about the Terminator reel. Top 14 semis in 2028, La Dépêche, which is one of the newspapers in Southwest, reporting that the 2028 semis will be at the new camp.
Oh, wow. Was that the semis? I hadn't noticed that. I thought it was the final. That's very cool.
I would.
That's a good weekend.
I might book the flights now. I got done by an April Fool, not in April. So apparently although I looked this up and I can't see any evidence of it, apparently this weekend was the like April Fool's thing in the Eastern Bloc, or what you might call
very,
the
very
Eastern
1970s. The
yeah.
Eastern Bloc.
Maybe it was my Googling of using out of date terms that Gemini didn't quite understand.
Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe. But I saw one that said, so Manon, who's left Toulon, and he'd signed for Rugby Club Bratislava, which obviously, and I checked the date and it said 2 days ago, and I was like, well, this is, I was like, well, this is legit. It's not April Fool. But I was informed by Carl from Rugby Through the Leagues that this was actually it was April Fools, and apparently there were loads of them knocking around over the weekend. One thing that wasn't an April Fool but could easily have been was Monaco. AS Monaco were promoted to Fédéral 1, and they did, these teams do like the promotion or champions, and they do like there's photos of like all the players, and they put like a big graphic in the middle. They managed to spell it Fédéral.
Oh, excellent!
on their celebration post, there was a typo.
That's brilliant.
I do have, Richard, 3 rugby league stories.
Ooh.
So it was the French
Good.
Super 13 final this weekend, which was held at Stade Jean-Bouin. It was Carcassonne versus Pierre. Pierre are from Pyrénées-Orientales, so it's quite near Perpignan. And Pierre won it, their 4th title, with a golden point winner from Theo Fage, who former St Helens, played for Saints for quite a while. And it was available to watch on YouTube. I saw that when I went on to go and watch FR UK. It was a kind of like you might be interested in, or that sort of thing. The other part of that, so that was the first of a double header at Stade Jean-Bouin. Have you seen any of this? The Super League was the second part of that double header.
No,
have you not seen this?
No.
So this weekend, Catalans Dragons played their home game against Wigan at Stade Jean-Bouin. I can't believe you haven't seen this. I mean, I only saw it yesterday, but I was messaging Elgin through our account. Have you seen the kits?
No, I've literally seen none of this.
So Catalans obviously playing Catalan colours, Wigan playing red and white normally. Catalans had a special kit in blue and red with kind of gold motifs, a la Stade Francais. And Wigan, who are sponsored by Kappa, played in pink. So they had like two Stade Francais kits. They look awesome, like really cool one-off kits. And it was part of a celebration of 30 years of Super League and also the 20th anniversary of Catalans entering Super League. So they first came in 2006.
Oh, I'm just looking at a photo now. Yeah, they are lively kits and they are very, very Stade Francais.
Yeah.
We're on Wigan today.
Nice. And slightly Stade Jean-Bouin related, do you know who the first game of Super League was between?
The first ever game of Super League?
Yeah, in 1996.
Stade Jean-Bouin related? No, I don't.
The away team was Sheffield Eagles, but the home team were PSG, and it was played at the Stade Charlotte.
No way.
Yeah.
What
first
fact?
ever game of Super League was Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain Rugby League.
Got my Stade Francais shirt.
Yeah. your third rugby league news, Richard, which I think you should have
Keep
seen.
them coming.
You should have seen. Magic Weekend is on the 4th of July. All of the fixtures, bar one, are at Everton Stadium. The one that isn't is the French derby, or French Magique. Toulouse Olympique versus Catalans is being played at, not Everton. Where's it being played, Richard?
I'm going to guess Montpellier.
Stade Pierre Fabre.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Amazing. I'd not seen that at all. That's very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Excellent.
That's it for my trio of rugby league news.
All very good. Enjoyed that thoroughly. Stade Pierre Fabre. Get in. What
4th of July, that.
proper place. All right. That's really exciting.
That is also 4th of July. Isn't that the same weekend as Festival Pepusque, or whatever it was last week?
Oh, what the
Spoiled for choice,
the Urios.
the Urios Festival. Spoiled for choice on the 4th of July. Get yourself to France somewhere.
What a weekend you could have. That's amazing. There's a lot to be excited about at the moment, and a bit of rugby league crossover is boosting that even further.
If you check out the Super League official accounts anywhere, you'll see the Wigan and Catalans kits. It was a very cool occasion at Stade Jean-Bouin. Really cool.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Wigan today. Very cool.
or go to Wigan today.
Yeah, for everything, all of your French rugby league related news.
It's also quite funny, like I was trying to find out if it had been reported on before. I was like, how have I missed this? And if you type in Wigan at the moment, it's literally all about the Makerfield by-election.
Well, I was just on Wigan today, and I've just been absolutely hammered with election ads of multiple different ilks. So we'll leave that there.
Anyone listening that's not in the UK has no idea what we're on about. But
oh, amazing! Another great weekend ahead. Access match, one of the biggest games in French rugby. We'll keep an eye out for where that's going to be lurking on TV5 Monde or whatever it's called. We'll try and fix you up there. 2 fantastic Barrage fixtures. Rob, best of luck as a Po fan. I don't have it for Cass, but I am actually a rash decision. I'm going to the Rec to see Bath Exeter in that playoff. So we'll have our eyes on separate playoff fixtures. I feel like Po might be slightly better placed than Exeter in that one.
Oh, well, I'll be back in the Chiefs.
We'll see how we go. Please keep an eye out. Follow us at Rosbiff Rugby everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Subscribe, like. Get stuck in, email us, rosbiffrugby@gmail.com. Any final thoughts, Rob, as a nervous Po fan ahead of your first?
No, I've just suddenly got really nervous about it, just thinking about what I said earlier. I'm now really nervous. Touching wood.
I'm sure it won't come back to bite. That's never happened.
Oh, God.
All right. Thank you as ever for listening. We'll be back next week with a review of those Barrage games, the Access match, and our Pro Day Team of the Year, it sounds like, which is very exciting. In the meantime, I've been Richard. That's been Rob. We've been the Rosbiff Rugby podcast. And for another week, au revoir.
Au revoir.